You're listening to Rendezvous with the Writer with Bobbi Jean and Jim Bell, only on LA Talk Radio.
Welcome to Rendezvous with the Writer, where readers and writers meet, and story is everything. We're your hosts tonight, Jim and Bobbi Bell, and you just been listening to Hot Texas by the Hot Texas Swing Band, our friend Alex Dorman.
And we so appreciate Alex and the band allowing us to play that music at the beginning and the end of every show. And we're delighted that you are here with us tonight for episode 167. Oh my goodness. And we heard some news today that I think, Jim, we just want to take a moment and share.
We learned of the passing today of the passing of a gentleman and author, L.J. Martin. Larry, along with Mike Bray, co-founded Wolfpack Publishing in 2013. At the annual Western Writers American Conference, Larry always enjoyed chatting with us about Rendezvous with a Writer and was supporting of our efforts. To Larry's wife, Kat, and the family, we send our condolences.
You know, it was always fun to chat with him in the bar, wasn't it?
It was. Do we talk about books or what?
Yes. You know, this show has been such a blessing to us in so many ways, and in one of the ways is getting to meet and chat with so many fabulous creative spirits, writers, musicians, and others. And we're going to bring two on right now. So, Jim, who is our first guest we're going to introduce now?
First guest is Nick Whale, Dusty Saddle Publishing.
Hello, Nick. How are you tonight?
Well, hello, Jim and Bob. It's terrific to see you. It's great. I'm great. How are you tonight? How are you both doing?
We're really good. We're really good. We've just been reading just fabulous books that we just can't put down. So happy to have you with us. And where are you joining us from, Nick?
Oh, I'm from Great Britain. So all the way across the world. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, but that's we always work this late.
He is dedicated.
I know.
You have to be in this business. It's 24 hours.
24 hours. That's right. We're so delighted to have you with us. And you came to our attention through our good friend, the next guest we're going to announce. And who was that?
Scott McRae.
Scott. There he
I was scandalized to hear that you were in a saloon. Oh,
I was too. It was terrifying. I had no idea.
Liquor has never touched my lips. I use a straw usually.
Right.
Oh, it was just ginger ale for me.
Oh, ginger ale, yes.
Ginger ale's the worst.
It's always
That's the
ginger
one
ale
you're gonna
to
addicted
do a
to.
breathalyzer test. It's like,
Well, Scott, we're so happy to have you back with us. This, I think, will be your third appearance, and we'll see if we can't get you on again one more time this year. Yeah, we're so happy. You know, Scott, after he'd been on a couple times, he emailed and he said, I have somebody I want to tell you about. I'm just a suggestion. It's just a suggestion. But Nick Whale of Dusty Saddle Publishing, I just think it'd be great to be on with him. And so you request it and we make it happen.
We are here.
Oh my gosh. So before we get started, we have so much to talk about. Jim, do you want to just go ahead and tell our guests a little bit about Nick and a little bit about Scott? And then we'll get into, I know, a fascinating conversation.
Okay, a couple bios. Nick Wade. With Dusty Saddle Publishing, Nick Wade was invited to build the company from scratch. Through his network, he picked a formidable team of authors, building DSP into arguably the largest independent Western publishing company in America. Can you believe? Nick is known as a tireless advocate for hard work, achievement, and opportunity. Under his guidance, Dusty Saddles Publishing has expanded into other genres, has a fast-growing audiobook wing, and has several movie projects in the works.
Yeah. So welcome, Nick Whale. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Bobbi. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I like that bio very much. He sounds like a very interesting guy.
Yeah.
And then our next guest, we're going to introduce quickly.
We're going to do Scott right now.
Yeah, right now.
Scott McCrae is one of the members of Dusty Saddle publishing team of authors. Also joins us tonight for his third visit. Scott is the 2024 Western Writers of America Spur Award finalist. The author of 25 Westerns. He has also written novels, short stories, magazine articles, television and documentaries, nonfiction books, cookbooks, and trading cards.
Scott, welcome back.
Thank you. I was born at a very early age. Oh, sorry, wrong story.
Do you, Scott, when we just listen to all of the things that you write, do you work on one project at a time, or do you just, you're working on several things at a time?
So when I'm writing the book itself, it tends to be one book at a time. But while I'm writing a book, I am doing things to books that I've already written. So right now, I've just finished another book with Gary Diamond called Seven Ride for Gold. So I'm editing, or we're editing that while I'm working on my current book. So yes, always working.
Always working. And how did you two meet?
I was in a bar in Cairo, actually. No. I was walking down Fifth Avenue and somebody walked up to me and said, "What's the capital of Bolivia?" And I said, "I have no idea." And they threw a burlap bag over my head. Oh, see, he knew. That's why.
We have authors in La Paz.
So
you know that,
years,
Bob?
I know. Yeah, you have authors. So many years ago, not many, actually, a couple of years ago, I had written a proposal to do a series of books about Buffalo Bill. And I had peddled them, and I sent it to Dusty Saddles. And Nick's assistant emailed me and said, "I want to, do a call with you." And the next thing I know, this remarkable voice on the other side of the pond gets on the phone, and we're talking about Tom Mix. And I had a contract to do 9 books.
And they're so fun.
All right.
Yeah. But Nick said, this is really viable, and I want to work with you. And I've worked with a lot of publishers because I've worked with a lot of houses, and to be able to get the publisher on the line and have him call you and talk to you, it's just a remarkable thing for any writer, and a pretty remarkable thing for any publisher. So I was like, I found a home.
Wow.
Excellent.
And Nick, help us, because we think it's Dusty Saddles with an S, or is it Dusty Saddle? We know DSP for Dusty Saddle Publishing, but in case we want to say it correctly tonight.
Well, it was baptized as Dusty Saddle, but a lot of the authors call it Dusty Saddles, so we go with either. Really.
Okay.
I mean, I hear it both ways, and I don't correct anybody.
Okay.
Dusty Saddles, Dusty Saddle. I'm in the publicity business, so as long as you're saying the name partially correct, it's good by me.
Very good, because we were worried about, well, you'll say with an S and you won't, and we'll get confused. So
it's like Barnes and Noble. Some people say Barnes and Nobles, but I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
That's right. They do.
Okay. So let's see. Nick, can you give us a little of the backstory to Dusty Saddles Publishing?
Well, it was very simple. I was working in book publicity, and that was independent publicity. And I ended up working on some Western books, and I didn't think they were going to be very successful to begin with. I was under the idea that Westerns weren't popular anymore. And I started working on these Westerns, and by golly, the things went to #1. I mean, they were selling like crazy. I had a bunch of authors, and they came to me and they said, "Look, we want to have a publishing company, but we don't want to run it."
Yep.
And I said, "Well, I'm sorry about that, because I'm not running it. I don't want to run it." And they said, no, you're running it. You do the publicity. We'll write the books. You do the publicity. So that's what we started with Dusty Saddle. Robert Hanlon was one of our first guys, and a guy called John Fry and several other authors. And they would write the books, and Dusty Saddle would publish them. And we had no idea it would go any bigger than that. Well, over time, we picked up a lot of authors, and a couple of companies collapsed, and we managed to pick up a lot of authors from those guys. And it became a very big growing concern. And about 5 years ago, we picked up a lot of really high-end talent, really top-notch talent, and it was the moment to make the company as big and strong as possible. So we went into overdrive. I selected all the people we work with. We built the team, and we went into overdrive, and it's been a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell because there's just joy. You look at you, Nick, or if you're just this listening to audio, you can just see and hear the joy that you have running this business.
Well, I'm very lucky because I started off in a sales office, and I was executive assistant when I was 17 to a very good salesman, and I worked in a 24-hour business there in the sales business, and I could take those skills.
Yeah.
He retired, and I was on one day. He said to me, "You're unemployed." So that's how I got into the book business, purely by accident. It's the whole story.
Yeah.
But I took those skills from the 24-hour sales office and, transposed them over to DSP. And you have to have joy in what you're doing. It's all about joy and positivity.
Yeah.
And having and doing a good job.
Absolutely. We would agree 100%. Do you?
Well,
Yeah, you have a question.
I
know.
do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
First, too. How long you been doing this? Dusty Saddles.
Dusty Saddles, 10 years for
Okay.
Dusty Saddles. And before that, I was working independently with authors doing publicity for books for about 5 years. Before that, I was in the sales business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as a typical day in the life of a publisher?
Well, there is, but not at Dusty Saddle. I mean, there's no typical days at Dusty Saddle. The days are 24 hours of running to get as many sales as possible, to push product as hard as possible, to get product on the market. I mean, every day is different for Dusty Saddle, but a lot of it comes down to doing as much as you can in a day, making each day have the workload of a week. So that's my rule. Every day has to have the workload of a week, and all the folks working for me, they know, I can't sit around. But the typical day really is, I like to take about 20 meetings a day. I like to have staff meetings every day with the people I'm working with. I like to be involved in every project we're doing. I have some very good assistants, Abigail and Jersey. But I like to be involved in everything. I like to see what's happening. I like to have my fingers in everything. So it's really a mad rush through the day. I mean, I really don't. I wish I could have more hours. I keep asking God to give me more hours.
How many, roughly, how many new releases come out a week, a month, a year? What do you plan?
Well, actually, we do about, sometimes we do 3 new releases a day.
3 new releases a day. And do they all come on Tuesday, or is that sort of a myth of publishing that everything new comes out on a Tuesday?
No, well, that's the way it is in Madison Avenue, for the New York publishers. For us, they come out every day between Monday and Sunday.
Wow.
Wow. We have so many authors, and we have so much product, and we have a very slick process with the cover designing and the editing. But we could do 5 a day, 10 a day, 15. We could do more if we wanted to.
Wow.
The process is very well put together, but it's yes, to me, it's all about production numbers, and getting the production out and getting the publicity out. But 3 a day, some days 3 a day, some days 2 a day.
Yeah. So Scott, as a Dusty Saddle Publishing, a DSP author, what do you love about this organization?
That this maniac will call me at 8 o'clock at night my time, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning his time, and I'm like, dude, go to bed. In fact, he will tell you, I have sent him emails. I'm not talking to you. Go to bed.
It's true. He does that to me. He bullies me.
Stop it. What do I like the best? So I see. So sometimes when you're a writer, it's a very isolated thing. You get a contract to do a book, and you sit down and you're figuring it out, and you hand it to the publisher, and then essentially you're divorced from the rest of the process until it's out. But with Nick, he's constantly calling to see how it's going. He wants to know. And then very frequently, because he really has his pulse on the market, he'll say, well, maybe the next book should be, and he'll throw out a story idea. And you don't necessarily use it verbatim, but it's like, oh, and then something tickles in your brain. And then, unlike a lot of houses, you get a lot of say in what the cover looks like. Who the editors are. And then, he's finding opportunities for you all the time. For example, there's the new series, which we'll talk about later, called America 250. I'm editing those, which, it's a remarkable opportunity, and I'm having great fun. And he's always coming up with things. I was doing Tom Mix, and he said, well, Bobbi, Mountain Men books are doing well. So I had done 6 Mountain Men books. Then after that, I came up with Marshall Ezra Flint, and he was saying, well, let's concentrate on Flint because that's the character that's resonating the most, and then he comes up with new opportunities to market and leverage Flint in the marketplace, and it's really unlike any other publisher I've worked with.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Don't go to bed until after this is over.
I want to ask you the same question, roughly speaking. Do you have a typical day? I mean, you write at 6 in the morning, or are you kind of free for it?
I sit in front of the typewriter and start crying.
I imagine a number of authors do that.
Yes. Typical. So when I'm working on a project, usually I have a word count, and the word count is the important thing to me. So if I'm done at 2:00 in the afternoon, then I'm done. If I'm done at 8:00 at night, then I'm done. But it all depends on how it's flowing. And then when I'm done with the word count, I have to work on the books that I'm editing afterwards. So, it's a word count for writing, however long that takes. And then it's all the other work. And then, any writer on the show will tell you that you have to do a lot of marketing as well. I'm blessed with DSP. They do a lot of marketing, but every writer should also do marketing of their own. So you have to have a presence on X, and you have to, maintain your website, and you have to have a presence on Facebook and Instagram. And so it just takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it does.
I guess they never have a sort of a time where ho-hum, it's kind of boring.
I know.
Really go to
what
a
am
movie,
I going to do with
movie
myself?
or
Yeah,
something.
maybe I should read a book. Yeah,
Oh, it's official. God. I've now written more books than I've read.
I got to remember
we were talking the other night, and we were talking about the popularity of Westerns.
Yeah.
And if you two fellows would kind of expound upon the worldwide, interest in American Westerns, it's really it was even a little astonishing for me listening to everything you said the other night.
Yeah, Nick, talk about why Westerns and what has got the world in its grip right now.
Well, I think that we're getting more and more authors from around the world. I mean, take last year, for instance. One of my good friends, a guy called Alfred Wallen, he's a German author. He came out of the box and he said to me, I really want to break through onto the American market this year. And I said, okay. So we got him the vehicle, the story. We got him he got to work on it. It's called Kennedy U.S. Marshal. It released in the States and it took off because it was just an amazing promotion. He was just amazing. And that's what I mean. The Western resonates around the world right now. I mean, everybody's interested in it. We're getting more authors than ever before, German authors, Swedish authors, Czech authors, Russians, whoever. And I think that the crop of Western authors of tomorrow will be from around the world. I don't think it will be just solely American. It used to be. And I think the American readership is taking to these continental writers and Europe, writers from around the world. And I think it's becoming a worldwide thing. And I think the Western still retains massive popularity in Europe. When I was living in Czech Republic, Westerns were on television every day. You could see Westerns all day long. And I think it also shows you the strength of the American spirit, that people around the world resonate with America. I don't know if it's felt as much inside America as it is outside of America, how important American culture is to the world. So, when you look at it, I think now more than ever, it's a time of, America giving the world its culture, and the culture being recreated by people all the way around the world. If you look at DSP has Filipinos ladies working there. They're working with the American audience. They do a great job. When you look at when you're looking at all the different cultures that are working, we have authors, as I said earlier, La Paz in Bolivia, Fred Staff. It's an amazing thing. So I think now more than ever, America is more powerful than ever.
So this is a perfect segue into the series that Scott made a reference to a few moments ago that we're very excited about. I think it's America 250, but tell us, give us the proper name and tell us the story behind this series and what we as readers can expect to see this year. Either one of you.
Oh, you can have that
Scott.
one. Bobby, do you want that one?
Yeah. So Nick and I were on one of our marathon calls, because Nick will call you and he'll say, I only need to talk to you for 5 minutes, and like an hour and a half later, oh well. And I said, next year is the 250th anniversary of the United States, because we were talking about how patriotism and a love of Americana is one of the things that makes the Western so dynamic. And I said, they're not, no, I can't think of any publishing house, mainstream or independent, that's doing something to celebrate the 250th anniversary. Maybe we should do something. And he said, Scotty, put it together. I'm like, okay. So I came up with this idea, and I said, so we'll do 12 books, one a month, and every book will feature as a character, they're all novels, a great figure of the American West. And, DSP has this stable of great writers, and he opened it up to, some of the top writers and said, who wants to play in this particular garden? And he was just overwhelmed by the response to that. And we have some really great people. And the first book in this series, The Pathfinder by Jackson Lowry, just came out today. So there'll be a new book every month for America 250 to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America. I'm incredibly proud of this project and really excited because, again, we are the only publishing house that's doing this. And amazingly, you would think, other Western publishers would have come up with this, or other mainstream houses.
Other mainstream houses.
But it takes the Brit on the other side of the pond to say, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Well, we know, and we'll talk further, off screen about this. We'll get some emails going, but we're very excited about this as well. And Rendezvous would like to participate in that. We think it would be really fun to have 2 authors at a time. And so over the year, 6 episodes. And I don't know, maybe Scott or Nick, one of you needs to be with those 2 authors, because it'd be really fun to have that kind of a dialogue going. But we've got a couple of dates still open just in the next couple of months. We think we could get this rolling in February or March, and then we'll look at the balance of the year and make sure you have enough time to talk to to the authors and find a date, that'll work for 2 to 3 people, which is not always easy. But we'd like to get behind it and make sure that your authors are represented on Rendezvous in whatever way we can do that. So, how fun!
I think it's a great idea. I don't know how many people here in the States understand that there is 250 years since.
Well, I remember the centennial, the
bicentennial, yeah.
And I happened to be on July 4th, 1976. I was at the football stadium where the Patriots play, and I watched Elton John come down from a helicopter, I think dressed as Uncle Sam, although it's 50 years ago, and I may not have that quite right. Landed in amazing, played for like 3 hours, and
wow.
The most amazing concert I'd ever been to. And there was so much about the Statue of Liberty got refurbished,
yes,
and relit, and there was so much around it. And a lot has happened in 50 years. And
yes, I can't believe that 1976 was 50 years ago. Can you?
I can't. Well, I was not very young then. Oh, I mean, I was very
old.
I was very young then. I went with my parents. Anyway. So we're fine on time, but I am just looking at it because we had so many things that we wanted to talk about. And I'm so glad we got in about that series. Let's just let's ask this, I guess. Nick, what is it about Scott's writing that you just knew he's got to be with us, and he's just a fabulous writer? What do you look for?
Well, it's a funny thing. Again, sales background. I like to get my authors on the phone, and I like to talk to them for a couple of hours and see what I think of them. And after 2 hours, turned into 3 hours, Scott and I got on very well, and I knew that he could perform, and his writing was great, and I knew that he himself was mentally prepared to perform, because in our business, you have to turn out books quickly. They have to be good books. They have to be good books, and I knew he could do it. Yeah. So after a couple of hours of talking to him, I knew that he was going to be a great seller in our business. I just knew that he had the attitude, he had the acumen. I knew he was going to be great. And of course, it's been proven. Look how big Flint's been. It took off like a rocket.
Yeah. Yeah, so those are some of the things that you look for. Do you want query letters and things like that, Nick, or how do people approach you if they want to join your team?
Well, do you know how people usually approach me? They get me on the phone. They say to me, "I've got a friend," and usually they're a writer of mine. They say, "I've got a friend, and he's got a really good book, and he's doing this, or it's self-published, or this or that." A lot of the time, I hear from other people, and they recommend authors. But yes, we take. If you go over to our website, dspublishernetwork.com, we do take submissions. Certainly, we do. We get about, I don't know, 50 a week, 100 a week, and certainly we take submissions. But I still go down to getting people on the phone and talking to them. I'm very old-fashioned in that regard. You have to know who you're working with.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I am now looking at time, and oh my goodness, so we're still fine, but we're going to we're going to step away for a moment and take our very first little ad spot, and we can't thank these people enough. Blue Cottage Agency and Clicks by Madison helped to sponsor the Rendezvous with the Writer. And we are so thrilled to be working along with them. We're all excited about 2026 all together, and they are available to assist you. Here's a word about a special that they're offering right now. And when we come back, more with Nick and Scott.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Authors, welcome home. Every author needs a website, a home base for their brand. Professionally showcase your books and brand with a custom website landing page starting at $369. BlueBookshelf.com. It's a great feeling to be home. Contact the Blue Cottage team today to get started.
Welcome back to Rendezvous with the Writer. We're talking about Nick Wales, Dusty Saddles Publishing, and Scott McCrae.
Yeah, so excited to have you with us.
I have a question. We might have asked this one of the other times that you were on, Scott, but you had some media appearances. You were on ABC a couple times, maybe?
Yeah. So years ago, 1997, I think. I was only 4. 1997.
Yeah, right. That's Bobby.
Yeah.
I'd written a book about the 100th anniversary of the publication of Dracula, because that was the 100th anniversary, and I thought like nobody would be interested in this. So it came out. The next thing I know, I'm everywhere. I was on Good Morning America and in the Times and things like. So it was. You never know what's going to take off, really. As Nick said with Flint, my Flint series is doing really, really well. I thought the Tom Mix series was going to do really, really well. It did fine, but not nearly as well as Flint. And I think writers are really bad judges of their own work. So that's why I did a lot of media for the Dracula book. It was all very unplanned.
Yeah. Now, we're going to be talking about Ezra Flint in another moment in greater detail, but I want to go back to this book, which was just a romp, around the world and in and out, and crazy storyline that made perfect sense unless you really thought about it. And with engaging characters. Lucas Wheeler, is he coming back? What is the plan?
So Lucas Wheeler is indeed coming back. I love Westerns, as you know, but I also love thrillers. And when it was time for me to think about writing a thriller, I was saying, well, the Western is my sweet spot, and I wanted to write a thriller also. How do I merge the two of them? So I wrote a contemporary thriller, but the hero is also a contemporary cowboy. Or as my better half calls it, it's James Gardner as James Bond. And I had a lot of fun doing that. And my Rat Fig publisher, not Nick, went out of business. And even though the book was, I wasn't the only book. I hasten to say I wasn't the only book, but it just as it was selling well, and just after it came out, so the whole thing was kind of blindsided me. And I was telling Nick about this, and Nick's mother read the book. and Nick's mother calls him up and says, just bring Lucas Wheeler over to DSP. So actually, we're reissuing Targets West with DSP, and the sequel's already written. It's called Prosecution League. and that'll come out later this year. So there is indeed a sequel to Targets West, and
Okay,
Lucas
so-
Greeley will return.
When is it coming out?
The Prosecution League. I
Yeah.
have to talk to my publisher. I wonder when I'll
All
have to
right.
talk to them.
All right. Well, we want to make
Probably later
sure
in the year,
we want to make sure we have you back.
probably in the fall.
All right. All right. That sounds
That's
good. So, so we're talking about.
Nick, did your mom read a lot of the books for you?
Oh yes, anything. I mean, she was crazy about the Lane Warensky books. She told me those would be
Yeah.
hits too, and they were huge. And she picks them up. She comes over, and they just go home with her.
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
Since you mentioned, and you do have an
Big one.
incredible team of authors, you were kind enough to send us this one along with Casey Nash's book, one of the Jubal Stone books. I have to tell you, these were both, I had to read all three in this series. I had to go find the other two. And this one, I was on the train, 26 hours on the train, crossing the country from here up to Illinois, and could not sleep because this book absolutely had me hook, line, and sinker. Keeper of the Arrows. This is an amazing story. Two young blonde twins are kidnapped from a wagon train, and we have this amazing characters. You've got Caleb, and you have Captain. I think his name is Wheeler too. I have to look at my notes. It doesn't matter. Amazing characters, and what a story. So I know I need to read everything that Elaine has written also. So yes, and Scott's Ezra Flint, we're going to get to in just a second. We're going to be taking an in-depth look at his newest one in the series, Flint's Honor. Ezra Flint, U.S. Marshal, Flint's Honor. And then we just received, I guess was it the first one in the series that's come our way?
No, that's the book right before Flint's Honor.
Oh,
okay.
yay.
All right,
Okay, I
Trevor,
know
okay.
I know what I
Yeah.
need to be reading tonight.
Yeah.
And we are going to take a listen to a short spot about bookshop.org, where you can find many of the books of authors from Rendezvous. And we're going to be right back. And you definitely don't want to go away. You don't want to miss this segment. We'll be right back. Story is everything. Find a great one on Out West Shop's bookshop. Go to outwestshop.com. Find books and CDs on the menu. Choose Shop Out West on bookshop.org. Browse through featured authors on Rendezvous with a Writer. Explore curated book lists and our featured picks. Add in note cards, calendars, and jigsaw puzzles. One-stop shopping for great gifts. Use the search box to find thousands more titles. Make the switch. Your purchase supports us as independent booksellers. That's our story.
Warrior awakens, he is coiled up to strike. He says, Captain, it's not me you need to warn. May God have mercy on the men I meet today, 'cause I am the storm. I am the storm. I rain fire from the sky. I am the storm. Today is not my day to die. I'm the hammer, I'm the anvil. Beat the plowshares into swords. You want war. I am the storm.
So we think that describes Marshal Ezra Flint pretty well.
That was wonderful. Now, who's the artist?
Yes, thank you for asking. That's a good friend of ours, and he's originally, that's an original by Randy Houston, written and performed by Randy. It's from his album Times Like These. He's an award-winning musician and just a phenomenal songwriter. And that same train ride, 26 hours. So I was able to read more than one book. I got into Ezra Flint on the train, and all I kept thinking, Scott, that song just kept coming into my mind, especially as the story progresses and we see Flint. Flint is a man of action, and
Is he ever?
yeah, and I don't think he sleeps either. He doesn't eat very much. Little coffee, a little sugar.
Sugar.
Yeah. And he's ready to go. And all I kept thinking was, you want him on your side, and you want that storm. If you're in battle of some kind, you want Ezra Flint on your side, and he is that storm. At least this book, he is that storm.
Well, that was a perfect song to pick because I always think of Flint as a force of nature. He's sort of like vengeance personified. And that came about when Nick and I were talking about the Tom Mix series. And in the Tom Mix books, Tom is very affable and friendly and approachable. And Nick said, well, maybe we should start thinking about the dark side of Scott McCrae. And I wouldn't say that these books are dark, but they are harder edged. They're a little more violent and they're a little spare. And where, Tom Mix was affable, Flint is sort of remote and serious. He's sort of like the world's worst college professor because he's the guy you don't want to get,
But he has a big heart.
He does have a big heart.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I hint in every book to some of the mysteries of Flint's past because in the book you just read, somebody asked him, did you know Injustice? And he said yes, and then sort of shut down the conversation. So you never know where Flint came from or what his background is or how much he knows. Is he on the run himself? Is he on the run from himself? So I made him a very conflicted character, and I specifically didn't want to address any of those questions right away. But there is this layer of mystery, and I find, I think everyone has a friend or knows someone who is somehow distant or remote emotionally, and very frequently it's those people who've either been hurt or easily hurt. And when you said, he had a big heart, I just love you for that because it's very hard when you're putting all of this lacquer around a character that you want to be remote and untouchable. That you also want people to realize that there's a real heart and real vulnerability in there. There's kind of like a Mr. Spock quality about him.
Yeah,
he's emotionless and cold, but inside he's like warm spaghetti.
Yeah. Well, that he goes out to check on the Estradas. They're just people that live outside the town, and he knows that they're older and whatever. And I think that's what shows he's not going, to arrest them for something. He's not thinking they're harboring, a criminal or something. They're a member of the community, and I think that's something that shows that he has that kind of heart. And then we see him in that scene with Fred Kapp. Fred, tell us a little bit about the scene I'm talking about. I know.
Which one?
Well, he comes in to confront him into his office, and Fred Kapp,
and he just throws everything off his desk.
I think that's when I first thought, I am the storm, because he's not backing down, right?
He's not backing down, but to your earlier point, they come across Clay Morley, and a lot of lawmen in more contemporary Westerns would watch him get lynched, but instead he saves him. And then, his sidekick in the book is another ex-bad man, Blackjack Timmons. And that's another bad man that he reformed. So he is a hard case, and he does, keep score, but no one's beyond redemption. And I think that's one of the things that Flint recognizes. And redemption's an important part of his character, offering people the possibility of redemption.
I know you want to ask about Blackjack.
Well, I'm going to ask about those evil twins first.
Oh boy, are they bad? Caleb and Barney. Is it Caleb and Barney?
So you try to come up with villains that are memorable, and sometimes they just get more and more and more grotesque. And I had in some of the earlier Flint books, the villains were almost like something out of James Bond. I mean, they were really, and I wanted to, for this one, scale it back a little bit. So these are just your common garden variety sociopaths. But I'm glad you liked them because I did want them to be memorable. But this one is really a chamber western because it's really, Flint stops a lynching. He gives the man a chance to redeem himself. He gets him a job. And then when the people that he was working for are murdered, Flint is horrified and feels responsible because he gave this person a chance. So he hunts him down. And I think a lot of the violence of Flint's character in that book is because he felt betrayed by Clay Morley. And it's only when, of course, he finds out Clay Morley is innocent that he's like, oh my God, what have I done? But then, of course, everybody teams up. And I wanted specifically this to have a happy ending because some of the Flint books didn't.
See, I haven't read any. Okay.
You have a lot of quotes in that book.
Oh, yes.
You quote,
Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, Marcus Aurelius.
And Bunyan's Pilgrim's
Progress.
Yeah.
Plus, your own quotes in there. I was writing.
Oh, yeah.
What quote am I going to say tonight?
What quote are you going to use? And then you fill it with really fun things like goober peas, eating goober peas. And Blackjack, our fun sidekick, Blackjack, is like singing it.
And goober peas, yes.
I had it in my head, and I had to go into iTunes library to find. I was like, no, I really want. I think I know what song that is. You just you weave things into that one scene with Fred Kapp. We know that a copy of Huckleberry Finn goes flying off his desk. You don't really tell us exactly what time period we're in. You give us some clues. And I had to know what year did first it's released in London, England, and then it's a year later before it comes out in the States. And what did we decide? What did it say? 1885?
85 in States.
Well,
84 in the UK.
This is at least 85 because he's got a copy of Huck Finn.
I learned something about goober peas. I went back to listen to Burl Ives' rendition of this. And of course, this is a Civil War song. So
it is a Civil War song.
Yeah.
But goober peas, and I thought, what are goober peas? Peanuts.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Well, so every one of my books has to have at least one bit that's funny. Because I mean, if you don't, any book without a laugh isn't worth reading.
Well,
even the grimmest book has to have one laugh.
Yeah, and I know Blackjack. He is that sidekick that does bring some humor in, and then the way you write him, the way he speaks. And you put it in italics, and so we can. The reader's like, "Oh, I wonder, Marshall." However, you're like, "Oh, let me try. Let me try it. Let me see if I can sound like Blackjack."
Well, so Blackjack is a serious character, but he also has comic overtones, and he's a great pleasure to write because he is a Southern stereotype, and I wrote a lot of his dialogue phonetically, so when the reader is reading it, they get the full effect. Of just how outlandish he is. And I have to tell you, it's so much fun because whenever I write him, I'm saying it out loud so I can spell it phonetically. And Blackjack is in this book. He was in Long Trail to Justice, which actually is also an audiobook. He's in my book, Long Trail to Justice, and I was going to kill him. And he was the villain. And somewhere in the middle of the book, I said, I can't kill this guy. He's too much fun, and I like him too much. And I changed him from the villain to someone who is misunderstood. And I thought that was it. I would never bring back Blackjack. And my better half, I'm sitting there saying, well, I'm planning Flint's honor, and I'm going to have him. His sidekick was going to be his normal deputy. And my better half says, you should bring Blackjack. Everybody likes Blackjack. And of course, like you, everyone says, I love Flint's honor because Blackjack is back in it. So I guarantee Blackjack will show up again.
Very fun. Well, now I am looking at time. Did you have something you wanted to?
No, go right ahead.
Now I am looking at time, and we have to figure out how to have you all back again. The two of you back in the fall, and we need Scott. You got to sort of be. You got to be like regulars here on Rendezvous with the Writer. So I am looking at time so quickly. Nick, where can people find out what's happening with Dusty Saddle Publishing? Where do they go? Give us a little insight.
Or they can go to our Facebook page, our social media. We're all over social media under Dusty Saddle Publishing, and they can go to dspublishingnetwork.com. And I do have some big news to announce, if you're okay with that, Bobby.
Yes.
DSP has just made a deal with James Reasoner, probably the most legendary of all the Western authors, and we'll be publishing a new series by him called The Legend of Johnny Colt. And of course, that's big news for us. It's exclusive. In fact,
Congrats.
half the details were decided while we're on the phone here right now.
Oh my gosh! Congratulations!
Congrats.
Thank you. It's a big deal.
Wow,
And we ran the biggest campaign last year ever seen in the Western book business for Lane Warensky. So we'll be doing the same this year for Jim Reasoner. Of course, Casey Nash will also have a massive year as well. So it's looking pretty
exciting,
good.
Very exciting. And Mr. Scott, where do we find you, follow you, learn where to buy your books?
I hang out mostly on X at Scott McCrae West, but I'm also on Instagram at Scott McCrae West, and on Facebook at Scott McCrae West, and my website is Tales of Tom Mix.
Yeah, Tales of Tom Mix. Yeah, that's that. Oh my goodness, how fun! Well, let's see, Jim. Do you have a quote?
There are a million quotes in the book, but I just picked this one out because I liked it. We're quoting Marshall Ezra Flint, and he's quoting his favorite author, Marcus Aurelius. Whatever happens to you has been waiting to happen since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah. It's a
too.
really good one. That's a really good one. Scott, do all the characters in your books have references to books that they like to read?
No, just this one. So Ezra Flint is something of a classics scholar, and so he's obsessed with Marcus Aurelius. So he quotes him in every book. But I do point out that the average cowboy in the 1880s, when these books are set, was usually better read than contemporary adults today. I mean, they were very literate people. And that whole stereotype of people talk, Gabby Hayes talk is.
Yeah.
I mean, they were literate and often funny people, and very and also they wrote everything down. So that's why the West is so well chronicled.
Yeah, that's a really important. I'm glad you shared that. That's a really important. Well, this was episode 167. It will replay over immediately on Facebook. You can pick it up on YouTube later on this evening. The audio will be up on Podbean, and then you can be sharing it and listening to it, downloading it. Anything that you can do to share Rendezvous with a Writer with those that you know and love. We sure appreciate it as we continue to expand our audience. We're just so delighted that you were both with us, Nick Whale and Scott McCrae. So a special thank you to both of you. A thank you to Sam Hassan, who also played DJ tonight. Thank you, Sam, of LA Talk Radio. We want to thank Blue Cottage and Clicks by Madison for their continued support. To Alex Dormont and the Hot Texas Swing Band, and a special thank you to Randy Houston for giving us I Am the Storm tonight.
Oh, and thanks to Jim and Bobby Jean.
Oh,
I agree.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Scott.
having me on.
Thanks, Nick. It was fun.
It was really fun. Let's see. And you can tell from this episode, if you've ever wondered, we really do read the books, don't we?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
And we are reading this one now to get ready for next week. Ron Elcom will be joining us for his first book, The Legacy of a Lie. It's really intriguing. It's a great story. We're going to have a wonderful time next week with Ron, as we always do. And then, Jim, do you have a final comment?
Well, again, we thank you folks for being with us tonight. It's really been a blast.
Yeah.
And as we always say as a closing remarks, it's always a great day out west.
Keep writing.
And we'll keep reading.
Keep publishing. And we'll keep reading. We'll see you down the trail.
Adios.
Thank you.
Adios. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Good night.